Post back on 6th Street, hearing you whisper through the phone. Wait for me to come home.
Good afternoon. My name is Lisa Laker, Ed in the funeral. It does not speak about itself. It does not say fear me, wonder at me, or even understand me. It says think of life, think of the privilege of life, think how great a thing life may be made. Anthony's influence has not ended with his physical death. His spirit and life were a part of your spirit and life. And today there is something of Anthony that remains with each and every one of you. I'd like to invite a very close and long-time family friend, Mark Moran, up here to read Anthony's eulogy and share some cherished memories with us. Please come up, Mark.
Anthony Wade Richardson, otherwise affectionately known as Richo, was born on the 3rd of December 1979 in the Gladstone Base Hospital. He's survived by his wife Rochelle, daughters Ava and Ruby, parents Tom and Barbara, older sister Kim, and younger brother Grant. Anthony spent his formative years in the central Queensland town of Gladstone and Werdong Heights before settling in Brisbane after a short time in Sydney. From an early age, Anthony was quite active and could often be found riding his bike, playing table tennis, backyard cricket, basketball, giving his above-average height advantage, or chipping golf balls over the house, and on rainy days, sneaking up to the golf course to go aquaplaning along the grass on his boogie boards. But ultimately, he was at his happiest on the tennis court. Anthony attended both Boyne Island and Clinton primary schools before moving on to Chanel College for his secondary education. In his graduating year at Chanel, he was bestowed the honour of school captain. Such were his leadership qualities. Whilst continuing to excel on the tennis court, Anthony never ceased to better himself off the court. This was evident amongst his numerous qualifications, including a bachelor's degree in science, majoring in applied psychology, and becoming a level 3 high-performance tennis coach, to name but a few. Anthony seemingly always knew the path he was on from an early age and found his one true love and life partner, Rochelle. Throughout Anthony's journey, they would remain inseparable and happily married for 20 years, 20 wonderful years. It wasn't long before Anthony and Rochelle were joined by their two beautiful daughters, Ava and Ruby. Anthony adored his girls, and his doting family would undoubtedly be his most treasured legacy. Whilst trying his hand as a playing career, Anthony delivered tennis coaching lessons and coaching part-time. During this period, Anthony formed a great appreciation for teaching and the intrinsic fulfilment that came with it. Coupled with his strong interpersonal skills, big-heartedness and a dedicated work ethic, Anthony landed on high-performance tennis coaching as his vocation. Over the last 15 years, Anthony held numerous positions within various leading sport organisations, including Tennis Queensland, the New South Wales Institute of Sport, Griffith University, and Tennis Australia, where he was the National Academy coach right up until the time of his passing. Anthony never ceased to be genuinely honoured and humbled in helping others work towards their tennis dreams, and remain forever grateful for the worldwide experiences the game provided to him. When not on court, Anthony's other hobbies and interests were mainly sports related, unsurprisingly, including his love for the Brisbane Broncos, where he was a proud member, Queensland State of Origin, go the Maroons, playing golf usually at Gales or McLeod, social basketball with the West Brisbane Falcons, board games, trivia nights, travelling, the Punters Club, and an acquired taste for fine dining. Anthony came with a big presence. And not just because he was tall in physical stature. He had an unrivaled warmth about him, a wicked sense of humour, was an excellent role model, and gave people a reason to look up to him. The world is a much lesser place without him, and he will be sorely missed. Rest in peace, mate.
Thank you, Mark. Growing up, Anthony was sports-loving and mischievous, two qualities that endeared him to his lifelong friend Dave Leinster. Leinster? Leinster, yes, sorry. Early on, these two conquered basketball courts and rope swings, and in later years were best man at each other's weddings. More recently, Dave made it his personal mission to expose Anthony to Brisbane's finest culinary experiences. I would like to invite Dave up to recite the poem called They Chose You. Please come up.
They chose you. You might wonder why your friend was chosen to leave Earth so soon. They had so much left to do. There is no clear answer, so instead remind yourself that while you were still here, they chose you. You to be their confidant, their very best friend, to share in life's moments, and to remember them in death.
I'd like to invite Anthony's daughters, Ruby and Ava Richardson, up here to share with you some precious memories of their dad and some of his beautiful attributes that we remember with a smile. Please come up.
I do not have the perfect words for this, so please bear with me. Many of you know Dad in a professional or social sense. You only had to spend a fraction of time with him to understand the type of person he was. He was someone who waved and smiled at every stranger he passed. The guy you could always call on for a favour, but also a person so emotionally in tune and caring. This is just a snapshot of who he was as a member of our family. Many people don't know, but Dad was an avid self-help book reader. He was constantly looking for ways to become a better person, to learn and to grow. As a result, he grew quite the reputation in our family for his unusual quotes and sayings, or as he referred to them, pearls of wisdom. Some of them made me cringe, but others have turned into important philosophies of mine. Maybe those self-help books really do pay off because he turned out as one hell of a guy. When I think of Dad, what stands out is his compassion and positivity. Selfless is an understatement. After long days watching him playing tennis, you would think he would be sick of it. But every day, Dad would come home from work buzzing to hit because he knew how much I loved it. His sacrifice and love as a parent is unmatched. Speaking of love, Dad clearly adored Mum and her feisty ways. He would fondly recount the story of meeting her on the dance floor. I believe the phrase used was, "The fish are jumping in the boat tonight." Mum and Dad have been inseparable ever since, their contrasting qualities complementing each other perfectly. Along with his family, Dad had many other loves. Coffee, his lawn, the Broncos, Roger the car. But undoubtedly at the top of the list was Spud. Despite refusing to get a dog for years, the two were inseparable. And as much as I hate to admit it, Dad was Spud's favourite too. Dad played many roles in all of our lives, but I think his place in our family was one he did best. Although love means nothing to a tennis player, this certainly was not true for Dad, and the love he spread through our family is something that will last forever.
To me, when I thought of Dad, I thought of him as the most giving person I knew. He would do anything and everything to make others' lives easier, or simply just to make them happy. One of my favourite childhood books that I recently came across, The Giving Tree, tells a story about a boy and a tree, and how the tree would do anything to make this boy happy. Even if it meant cutting down her branches and selling all her apples, the tree did not mind. She would do anything for the boy because seeing him happy made her happy. Looking back at it now, Dad was our giving tree. All throughout high school, I was part of the string orchestra, which required weekly early morning rehearsals. Every Thursday, without complaint, Dad would volunteer to drive me, giving up his morning sleep-ins for me, and even being the one to wake first so that I was able to sleep in just that little bit longer. He was always so happy to see me arrive to practice on time and would wait patiently the days I was running late and putting shoes on in the car. Without him, my musical endeavours would not have been possible. Another example of Dad giving up his time for me are the countless nights that we worked on my assignments together. I was a bit of a worry and always leaving my work till midnights before due dates, but no matter how frustrating this may have been, Dad stayed up with me, reading my final drafts to make sure that they were the very best that I could hand him. I would tell him to hurry up when he would take 5 minutes rearranging one sentence alone, but I will always be grateful that he cared so much and pushed me so hard. Dad would not only push me to be the best in my schooling, but also in my career endeavours. He was so dedicated to helping me find what it was that I wanted to do and always supported me in my choice to leave uni and embark on a hairdressing apprenticeship. If I was happy and knew what I wanted to do, he was happy too. Even during his very last days, quite literally the day before he was taken to hospital for the final time, he was supporting me in my career-making decisions. He was so excited about my new job and eager to come and see where I'd be spending all of my days. Together we drove to the salon, and to see him so proud, I am forever grateful for this memory and that I could share it with him. Finally, this one's a bit less significant, but I'll always remember when we would go out for nice dinners and each of us would order our own meals, and no matter how much Dad may have liked his, if Ruby or I didn't like ours, he would swap. Most times this meant giving away his big chunk of steak covered in gravy and topped with veggies, something he loved, and living with a vegetarian we rarely got to have. Dad never did these things to have praise or prove anything to anyone. This was just the kind of person he was. I too am a bit of a people pleaser myself, but I hope that I can become like Dad and the giving tree and do these things just because.
It takes a lot of courage to get up here and speak, and it's really not easy. But girls, your dad would be so proud of you right now. Thank you for sharing those beautiful memories. I'd now like to invite Anthony's mum, Barbara Richardson, up here to also share some special memories that she holds close to her heart. Please come up, Barb.
Firstly, note to self, don't follow the granddaughters when you're public speaking. When Anthony was first diagnosed with terminal cancer and I was cursing the universe, Grant's partner Cass recommended a book to me titled An Ordinary Day. It recounts stories told by people whose day began like any ordinary day, but which was the day they suddenly lost a loved one. It made me realise that every day someone faces the same predicament as us, dealing with the unfairness of life. Our ordinary day was the 9th of August 2021, when Anthony, an outwardly healthy, fit athlete, was told that he had perhaps 4 weeks to live if his cancer went untreated. But unlike the stories in the book, we were able to share almost 18 more months of wonderful times with Anthony. I would like to share with you some of the insights of the Anthony we knew. He loved playing board and card games, and in fact, only 8 days before his passing, he was in bed teaching nephews, Gabe and Finn, to play trumps. As mentioned, he was a keen Broncos supporter through thick and thin. He liked fishing, was terrible at surfing, he thought he was good at skiing. He was the family masseuse, using his big bare paws to find the biggest knot in your back, and in a few minutes he would have worked it out. He was a bit of a cleaning demon at home and could well have been an advertisement for Dyson vacuum cleaners. At 6'5" Anthony had an unfillable frame and has always been partial to the big three: cheesecake, apple turnovers and vanilla slice. There was always a laundry basket full of tennis balls and an armful of rackets in the boot of his car, and on many a holiday he would have the young ones gleefully running routines and the adults testing their skills against him. Anthony fought his cancer with grace and dignity. As many of you will know, it was surreal to see him look so normal and yet be so ill. Now that he is gone, he has left a big hole in our hearts, but we will remember him as a gentle, loving man, full of kindness, integrity and loyalty. Toward the end of Anthony's time with us, in a quiet moment, I spoke with him about his life's journey. He said to me, "Mum, how lucky am I?" But in truth, we are the lucky ones to have had him in our lives.
Thank you, Barb. Mark Draper has been a very good friend of Anthony's for a very long time, as well as a work colleague. So I'd like to invite him up to share a lovely tribute that he has written. Please come up, Mark.
Good afternoon, everyone. My first recollection of meeting Richo was back in the late 90s when he was training at World Tennis in Durack in his efforts to forge a professional career at tennis. Graham Brimmelcombe was running his business from there, and during brief stints at home between my travels on tour, he was kind enough to let me come out and train with the guys in his squad. I instantly liked Richo. How could you not? What I didn't realise at the time was that he would become one of my closest friends and one of the most beloved figures in Queensland and Australian tennis. As a kid, Richo forged his love of the game in his hometown of Gladstone under the watchful eye of his coach and longtime friend, Ken Hick. He was a heck of a player in his own right, using his imposing height and tremendous serve to give his opponents plenty to deal with. It would, however, eventuate that Richo's career path would be in coaching rather than playing. Perhaps there was a twinge of regret that he didn't reach the heights of world tennis as a player, but if he had, we would have all missed out on the immeasurable value he brought to the game of tennis in this country. Richo has been touted as one of the best developmental coaches in Australia, and rightly so. He has either directly coached or had a strong influence on many of the players in the National Academy for at least a decade, and to a person, the accolades have been flowing thick and fast. He was equally accomplished at working with either gender. Testament to this was his work with Philip Sekulic and Casey Houle in 2017, where alongside Eddie Vo, he captained them to the World Junior Team finals. As good as he was with the boys, it's fair to say his warm, nurturing personality and having two beautiful daughters of his own led him more towards working with females. Priscilla Hon and Lizette Cabrera were two players that Richo developed from a young age, and to say they loved him dearly and that he contributed greatly to their progression as players and as human beings is an understatement. In fact, it's fair to say they saw him as a second father. Together with Kim Burrell, the girls were captained by Richo in state and world junior teams, and during the course of his tenure with TA, he toured the globe with many players. Such was his passion for the job and care for the girls that it wasn't uncommon for him to be sitting in the corridors of a hotel in the early hours of a morning to ensure they weren't falling into the clutches of boys with too many hormones running wild. As much as he cared for the athletes he was working with at the academy, his real power was that he cared about helping the sport out as a whole and going above and beyond what his core responsibilities were. Whether it was assisting the coach education team in delivering content and shaping course curriculum, or heading to metropolitan and regional areas of Queensland to ignite learning and passion in coaches and players alike, or even always being available to hit with a keen young player or warm them up for a match, Richo was always more interested in how he could leave the sport in a better place, rather than many personal achievements. He even put his hand up to be the wellbeing ambassador and assist Ben Robertson in this space. Adam Carey, a mutual friend and colleague, put it well: More than just the tennis, he inspired us to be better at life. It wasn't easy to take a jab at Richo about much, but he did have a slightly interesting dress sense at times. A few of us would often get a chuckle at seeing this giant of a man unfold himself out of his green Hyundai Getz and looking a little bit more like a Ken Doan painting than a professional tennis coach. I can picture him now with the fluoro green joggers, blue shorts and pink shirt, or some combination of the colours of the rainbow. Maybe there was a strategy in it though. In between lessons, he would often challenge one of us to a 1st to 11 through the middle, and boy, was he hard to beat at that. You'd be thinking to yourself, how can I be getting towelled up by a guy wearing green joggers and a pink shirt? Kim and Pri also shared a funny story in Adelaide on the night of Richo's passing, where a group of us had dinner together in his honour. During one of the overseas tours, Kim said she was in the passenger seat with Richo driving the rental car they had just collected. Shortly into the trip, he drove too close to some cars parked on the side of the road, and apparently clipped his side mirror on one of them. Kim was a bit hesitant but said, "Anthony, I think you just clipped your mirror on one of the cars back there." He brushed it off, said, "No, we're all sweet." About 200 metres later, he did a better job of it, totally obliterating his side mirror on another car. So perhaps too much driving in the tiny Getz affected his judgment. And after much sledging on my behalf, it was good to see him finally lash out and purchase a Kia Sorento, more appropriate for someone of his stature. He was so passionate about sport in general. There was always plenty of banter thrown around in the Punters Club group chat, especially around State of Origin time or during NRL season. He was so popular with the team because he always wanted to be a part of whatever we had going on: golf, poker nights, a day at the races, and of course, a night out at the football. He believed in hard work, but was also tremendous fun at social gatherings where he could let his hair down a little and enjoy a few ales, or if he was really in the mood, a few Long Island iced teas. Many of the people in the room could testify to having some brilliant nights out with Richo, and I can certainly recall watching he and his lovely wife Shell tear up the dance floor on multiple occasions at the Newcomb Awards. It's not difficult to work out why he was so loved. Much has been written and said about his many attributes since his passing. Words like kind, authentic, selfless, personable, humble, among many others, have been used to describe him. The quality that stood out for me, particularly in these last few months, was gratitude. As coaches, we often ask our players to embody certain values or behaviours, things like being tough in the face of adversity, competing hard, or showing respect to your opponent. It's easy to say, but not always truly easy to live it on a daily basis. Here was Richo facing the direst of adversity, his own mortality and the stress of his beautiful family being without him. Yet he truly carried himself in the most amazing fashion and showed gratitude for life, gratitude and joy for life, with the undoubtable fear he was carrying. The man that the entire tennis community loved did not change one iota. To the end, he was the selfless person we all knew, wearing that effusive smile and doing whatever he could to enrich the lives of those around him. Even just prior to Christmas, he was out at Tennyson teaching a couple of the girls how to string a racket. I hope he knows how loved he was by everybody and the tremendous legacy he has left behind. Rest in peace, mate. You were the best.
Our time of reflection allows us to listen to some songs and look at the montage of memories with Anthony. So let us listen and remember happy moments we shared in his life, the impact he had on our lives, and give thanks for the gift given to us by his presence.
I was once a spaceman taken to the sky. Was the first to launch a rocket, play a game of footy on the moon. I would search the galaxy for a sign of life, hold my thumb up to the earth and cover every single thing I knew. I used to want to be an astronaut, every day I used to fly. sterling brown beyond the run across the borderline. I would find a valley, build a little homestead, be the man from Snowy River with my cowgirl on my left-hand side. I used to wanna be a cowboy, every day I used to ride. Ooh, yesterday seemed like growing up was a million miles away. But ooh, we'll be chasing dreams from our very first step to our very last breath, and every day in between. If you wanna be a fireman, fire girl, go save the day. If you wanna be a rock and roll superstar, then take the stage. All you need are days to dream. All you need is time. Ooh, yesterday seemed like growing up was a million miles away. But ooh, we'll be chasing dreams from our very first step to our very last breath, and every day in between. From our very first step to our very last breath, and every day in between. I'm gonna pick up the pieces and build a Lego house. If things go wrong, we can knock it down. My 3 words have 2 meanings, but there's one thing on my mind. It's all for you. And it's dark in a cold December, but I got you to keep me warm. If you're broken, I will mend you, and I keep you sheltered from the storm that's raging on. Now I'm out of touch, I'm out of love. I'll pick you up when you're getting down. And out of all these things I've done, I think I love you better now. I'm out of sight, I'm out of mind. I'll do it all for you in time. And out of all these things I've done, I think I love you better now. I'm gonna paint you by numbers and put you on a wall. And it's so hard to say it, but I've been it before. Now I'll surrender up my heart and swap it for yours. I'm out of touch, I'm out of love. I'll pick you up when you're getting down. And out of all these things I've done, I think I love you better now. I'm out of sight, I'm out of mind. I'll do it all for you in time. And out of all these things I've done, I think I love you better now. Don't hold me down. I think the braces are breaking, and it's more than I can take. And it's dark in the cold December, but I got you to keep me warm. If you're broken, I will mend you, and I keep you sheltered from the storm that's raging on. Now I'm out of touch, I'm out of love. I'll pick you up when you're getting down. And out of all these things I've done, I think I love you better now. I'm out of sight, I'm out of mind. I'll do it all for you in time. And out of all these things I've done, I think I love you better now. I'm out of touch, I'm out of love. I'll pick you up when you're getting down. And out of all these things I've done, I will love you better now.
Some beautiful memories there, a whole lot of love. Now, whenever in need or in help of guidance, Anthony was always someone you could rely on for meaningful advice and support. Over the years, he has come up with countless pearls of wisdom, as Ruby has mentioned, and Ava. A whole book, to be exact. Not only did he preach these lessons, but he also embodied them, evident in the well-rounded, dearly loved person he was. So let's share some of these and what they meant to Anthony. The first one is, if it's important, you'll find a way. If not, you'll find an excuse. Anthony loved this quote so much, he wrote it in whiteboard marker on the fridge. It motivated him and the entire family to have a clearer purpose in life and to prioritise the things that are important. The next one is, you are not a warrior, you are a warrior. Now they sound the same, don't they? You are not a warrior, you're a warrior. Now, pressure makes diamonds, pain is temporary, nerves are normal, control the controllables. All of these gems of advice fall under the overarching pearl of being a warrior, not a warrior. Although Anthony used these quotes primarily when referring to sports, he applied them to all areas of his life, in becoming mentally strong when times get tough. The next one is, the magic happens outside of your comfort zone. The fear of the unknown, of change and unfamiliarity is extremely daunting for many people and takes great courage to overcome. Anthony always pushed the boundaries and believed that you cannot have growth without discomfort. Change will always be difficult, but Anthony showed many that it is also exciting. And gratitude. How lucky am I? No matter what life threw at Anthony, he always saw the glass as half full. He believed that the more you look for the positives in life, the easier they are to find. Mindset and perspective can transform a person's life. Hence, why Anthony was such a happy and positive person, the sunshine of a room. Anthony's many words of wisdom will be remembered forever. 4 sayings are nowhere near enough to sum up the many philosophies and mottos he lived by, and only represent a fraction of the incredibly well-rounded person he was. Now, the pain of grief felt at the passing of Anthony is a natural reaction. It is the price paid for having known and loved such a unique personality. Anthony may have been in your life for a moment or a lifetime. It really doesn't matter how long he was in your lives. What matters is that that moment is forever. And if you love in this life, you will grieve. Those moments that you've shared with Anthony that make you smile are so, so precious. Those memories are his gift to you. Anthony will be remembered for many things, and we've heard a sharing of beautiful memories today. But some of the things, other things he'll be remembered for, are, of course, his devotion and his love for his family. His passion for coaching and supporting tennis players throughout Australia, and always going that extra mile to do what he could for tennis and everyone involved in it. How much he just always smiled. That beaming smile, never be forgotten. How much he loved to eat out. His philosophy being, whatever the largest portion meal on the menu is being served, was always the best quality meal at that restaurant. And he would always order this. And finish it, I'm told. He'd do well. He was a very active man when it came to sports, as we've heard. He loved to play golf with his workmates, and any new sport he could turn his hand to and excel at. But he was a shit surfer, which really surprised him too. Whether it was his height and perhaps finding that centre of balance, but who knows, he definitely gave it a good go. How much he loved to travel, both for work and leisure. His family told me they are certain he is the only person who has ever received 2 speeding fines from driving through Liechtenstein. It's actually a country in Europe that is only 25 kilometres long. It's so small, he didn't even know he drove through it. Little alone got 2 speeding fines. His family actually received the fines in the post while Anthony was still overseas, but they found it quite amusing nevertheless. How he excelled at navigating in foreign countries, on subways and public transport. He was so organised, having itineraries to a T and printed up, ready to follow. His family would simply follow him with full trust they would safely reach their destination. How meticulous he was when it came to cleaning. He would have a vacuum in his hand multiple times a day, a Dyson, I think you said, Barb, yep, multiple times a day. And he even came home from work one day carrying 3 new dusters for the house. 1 for each room, perhaps. He was the morning coffee king. He may not have cooked many meals, but he could make a mean coffee. And how he would be the first one to help anyone out. He'd give you the shirt off his back if you needed it more than him. Above all else, Anthony loved his family. He loved being a dad to his girls. And as a dad, Anthony has taught Ruby and Ava the importance of family, to always put family first, and he's passed on good old-fashioned morals and ethics. When you think about the wealth that Anthony has left for each of you, surely it's a relationship that gives you so much significance. The relationship that's a friendship, it's a love of a friend, the love of a family member. He loved his family and friends dearly, but his greatest role was being a son, husband, dad, brother, uncle, coach, workmate, neighbour, friend. So with that thought today, we realise that life is fragile and death is going to come to us all. And we need to be mindful that we can live a life and concentrate on a lot of stuff that takes up a lot of energy and doesn't really give a lot back. Or we can live a life and concentrate on the things that are really important, taking time to spend time with the people we love, because all we are left with today is love and relationship. If you are able to, I'm going to ask that you please stand as we honour this very special man and we pay Anthony his last respects. Please stand. Anthony, what a privilege for everyone to come here today to say a farewell, to honour your life and to support your family. What a privilege to look at the pages in your book. Today we know the book is closed and the words in the chapters have gone into the hearts and minds of those who love you. What a privilege just to declare that you are greatly loved and greatly appreciated, and you can now rest in peace. So as we say our farewell to our beloved Anthony, our beloved husband, adored father, son, brother, our friend, Anthony Richardson, we commit your body to a place we prepare, for where the earth returns to earth, ashes to ashes, and dust to dust. And the imperishable spirit will find that love high forever in that place in eternal rest. We play an appropriate song in farewell as you go back home, far richer people for knowing and loving this very special man.
I call you when I need you, my heart's on fire. You come to me wild and wide. But when you come to me, give me everything I need. Give me a lifetime of promises and a world of dreams. Speak the language of love like you know what it means. It can't be wrong. Take my heart and make it strong. You're simply the best. You're better than all the rest. Better than anyone I've ever met. Just as long as I'm here in your arms, I could be in no better place. You're simply the best. You're better than all the rest. Better than anyone I've ever met. I'm stuck on your heart.